Well, we're back again, and we're having a little redo this week. We brought back Roy and Dirce because we had so many technical issues last week with theirs, and I just wanted to make sure that all of you had an opportunity to hear them clearly, and for us to do a little recount on what took place last week. So we're not going to start over again or anything, but I just want to remind you who they are. Roy and Dirce Cooper are our mission partners that we serve with for 16 years in Cuba. And Cuba is the only country that we go to annually, every single year. And a few years we've actually been more than once. But I know that you're going to enjoy them, and they're just a wonderful couple. And I've loved serving with them. All of our participants have as well. So I'm going to go ahead and bring them in right now. There they are. How are you today?
We are great and glad to be back.
And I'm glad to have you back too. I just was, just reminding all of our onlookers, and by the way, Jose Muniz, who is in China as a mission partner there, is just signing in and saying hello. Last week we touched on a number of things, including some of your background and everything. I'm going to do a little quick reminder. So, Roy, you're from South Carolina originally, correct?
Correct. Yes, sir.
And when did you accept Christ into your life, Roy? Do you remember?
Yes, sir. I was a 6-year-old boy when I recognized for the first time through the pastor's sermon that disobeying my parents meant disobeying God. For the first time, I understood something about what it meant to be a sinner. So I went forward at invitation time and talked to the pastor and asked him if I could be forgiven of my sins, what I needed to do. He said, you just need to trust Christ and ask him for forgiveness. And I did. So I've had many moments of continual growth all through these years, 60 years ago now. But I believe that the Lord saved me as a 6-year-old.
I thought you were only about 35 years old, so that was a long, But,
I know I look 35. But
apparently, I was mistaken. Yeah. Now I recall you said that you actually went to Gardner Webb College, and that's I believe that's where you met Miss Dirce. Is that correct?
No, sir. It was only later when I left Gardner Webb and went to Southwestern Seminary in Fort Worth that this young lady came to my Sunday school class and realized what a great student she could be.
And still is, I'm sure.
So. And still is, yes, sir.
And she's also a teacher too, right? I'm sure she's teaching you. Okay, good.
She has discipled me, yes, sir. She has.
And Dirce originally was from Brazil, but raised in a more or less traditional Japanese family there. What an interesting mix and culture there. Is that correct?
That's correct. Until I was 8 years old and became a Christian. Then I came out of pretty much of the Japanese tradition and went to Brazilian schools.
And I've met many of your family members, and they're all wonderful people. I've just learned to love your family over the years as we've been able to be together. Now, I mentioned to our folks that are watching that we've ministered with you and partnered with you in Cuba for many years. And with our visits there, we brought an orchestra team each time that we've been there. And we discovered in our first visits there that there weren't many instrumentalists serving in the churches at the time. Is that correct?
That's correct. When we first came to Cuba, we were amazed to see so many wonderful instrumentalists sitting on the pews. So that puzzled us. So we asked them, why are you there and not there, participating in the worship? And pretty much they said, we don't have scores. And some of them didn't have their instruments because they played with orchestras, professional orchestras and bands, but didn't have their own instruments. So a lack of scores, they didn't have music to play in the church and instruments.
By the way, Dan Mullis just signed in, who's been to Cuba with us. I don't know if you
yes. Hey, Dan.
And Dan says, 2 of my favorite people. So
we appreciate that. He's a precious person to us as well.
Made a tremendous difference in Cuba too.
He's a good boy. I remember that when we had that first kind of expo conference that took place at El Calvario Church in Havana, didn't we have something like 300 Cubans come to be a part of that?
That's correct. We had over 300 that signed up. We don't know how many didn't sign up, but we have pictures of people even from Buena Vista Social Club that were there in line to register. We did have about 300, and I think a little bit over 300 sign up for that.
Now, since that was my first visit there officially with GMP, I don't think I really knew anything about the makeup of the Cubans that came to join us for that expo conference. So there were some professional musicians there as well.
Mostly were professional musicians because
really,
we invited people from the symphonies, from the band, from Moises band that you know pretty well. Mm-hmm. And so most of them were professional musicians.
Yeah, you mentioned the national. That was called was it called the National Concert Band?
That's right. Banda Nacional de Conciertos, National Concert Band. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and of course, and there are bands all over the country in Cuba and just about every province, everywhere, right?
That's correct.
The government kind of insisted on that. They wanted to have those bands.
That's correct. You have even in small cities you have bands, and that's something that they keep up. The bands play usually in the public plaza, and you've been with them in some of their concerts, joint concerts. But that is a tradition to have a concert band.
Now and they do play often there because in Cuba there's very little. Pretty much everything with music there is live music, correct?
That's correct, and we've been to many even restaurants and on the streets. You've been there. You see that it's pretty much live. Yes.
I noticed in visits when we were there, like in the hotels, most of the hotels down in Havana would have maybe two small ensembles that rotated hours during the day and everything.
It's true. That's right.
That's correct. Roy can tell you about going to a restaurant and when we first got there.
One of our first visits there, we were there with some of our IB personnel, went to a state restaurant, and a young man came in playing guitar, older man playing violin. We prayed around our table. Wasn't sure how that would be taken. When we finished praying, the young man playing guitar immediately began singing "Embrace the Cross." And I was wondering, can you sing Christian songs in a state restaurant? That doesn't seem right to me. So I went up to him afterwards and asked, are you a believer? He said, no, I'm not, but my family is, and I like Steve Green songs.
Oh my goodness. Now, you mentioned the National Concert Band, and we've had so many great experiences with that group over the years. I was privileged to even have an opportunity to guest conduct them on several occasions, and what a blessing that was, because they're really fine musicians. Mm-hmm. And but you're going to remind me of more, but two in particular that I remember so well is Luis, the timpanist, and the drummer. I'm blanking.
The two, I can't think about his name either, but both of them accepted the Lord. Mm-hmm. And you remember that they came forward in front of all his colleagues at the El Calvario. We have a picture of that. And they're both teaching in the music ministry now in their churches.
That's wonderful.
So both of them are Luis, and I forgot the name of the other one. But
I'm so sorry, I've forgotten too. It'll come to me before we finish, I think. And I believe there was one of the French horn players too. I believe his name was Elmer, I think.
That one of the players that was I forgot his name too. So we don't have the names right now before us, but yes, we have several musicians from the band that accepted the Lord. One is in Guanabacoa. That was baptized and is pretty faithful there. But not only from the band, we know of a director of one of the orchestras that came to know the Lord.
Yes.
And several music teachers, several players with the symphony. So God really used GMP in the projects there, the concerts, to speak to a lot of professionals. So it is a great thing to be able to know that it made an eternal difference in those musicians.
You remember so well that that was most of what we're talking about right now is in the West with the National Concert Band, but in the East we had an unusual situation with professional musicians there, where Michael, the clarinet player, that's the associate conductor, Danielle, yes, Danielle, and his wife both.
Yes.
We were there 1 year, and when we came back the next time that we visited, they had accepted the Lord, and are now great witnesses within the professional arena there. 2 years ago when we were there, we had a difficult situation with our visas, and the visas that we were allowed to travel with did not give me the opportunity to take the role that I normally would take with our teams there. I was not allowed to conduct the orchestra. And I'll be honest with you, I knew that God was in control. I had no question about that. But that was difficult for me because I was not able to be the GMP representative leader during the whole time like I wanted to be. Moises conducted everything, and he had to learn the scores immediately when we got there, and he did a good job. And but I do remember that one of our concerts there in one of the communities where we were, that I was sitting in a chair with the rest of the congregation, and I was trying to be sweet about it, and all of a sudden at the end of the service, 25 of the professional musicians that were there gave their lives to Christ.
Wow!
Praise the Lord!
Praise the Lord! Yes.
So God didn't need me. I mean, what's the deal? I don't know. And, but that was okay. It was a great opportunity for us to do that. I know that we're not going to go too long today, but I did want to re-mention a little bit of GMP's partnership with you. We always know when we travel to whatever location and whoever our mission partners are that we're serving with, that number one, God's doing the work. Whatever goes on, God's doing the work. And God's the one that's doing the saving. God's the one that's doing the teaching. God's doing the one that's doing the growing. But we get to be a part of it, and we're allowed to be when we're there. And with that in mind, I know that you feel strongly about GMP and our interaction with you and with the people in Cuba. And I wanted to ask you to maybe voice that one more time about how you feel that GMP has been an aid to your work and to God's work there in Cuba.
I think this is a very good example that God is working all over the world, and he not only puts vision in those people's hearts in those countries, but he also communicates the same vision to people all over to join him. Because we had been praying for 2 years about, God, Lord, how can we reach professional musicians? Give us the strategies. So we didn't know how to reach them. And we had learned that in Cuba, about 20% of the population of Cuba were involved with music. And that was a big unreached people group. So that became one of our prayers, that together with the brothers and sisters there who were musicians, how do we get to them? That's when GMP came and joined us, and you joined our vision. And God was already working with us, and then God called you to join us, and you came and strengthened our ability to penetrate the professional world. So we felt like we're not alone. Here comes the answer that the God is sending us a team to make us one, and you joined our vision. That was the first thing that we felt like this is our strategy. God has brought U.S. musicians. Hundreds of you came, thinking about all these years to join us. And the second thing is that the GMP provided resources for the expansion of the ministry of the Cuban churches, because hundreds of musicians were trained because GMP provided instruments. You brought so many instruments that they needed not only to learn, but then it strengthened the worship ministry of the church throughout Cuba. All over Cuba, we saw little instrumental groups starting. And today you've been to like Holguin Church that had about an orchestra of young people, all the instruments provided by GMP. So that was the second thing that GMP helped us as you partnered with us. And the third thing is that you came and challenged us to be better. In fact, you challenged us to be excellent, so that when the world heard us, they would be attracted to the God of our music. So everybody wanted to be better and better, because all of your musicians were so good with the GMP, and they wanted to play as you were playing. And then you came and you were our friends. You became our friends. You came to celebrate with the Cubans. You came to cry with Cubans. In fact, you were there when very sad things happened, and you were there to cry with us and to love our families. You loved Cubans. They know you love them. And you came to walk with them, to mentor hundreds of musicians with your example. And several musicians with whom you worked with and mentored I can think of at least they're in at least 10 different countries now.
Wow. And
5 of those musicians are now career missionaries, ministering among the unreached people groups, indigenous people groups. Through music, they're reaching this group. So we really thank you and we stand in awe of what God did and is doing through GMP in Cuba because of your obedient service. Cubans know that you're excellent. Cubans know that you love them. And Cubans know that you're family. And so we really thank you.
Cubans also know that camp loves flying.
Yes.
Yes, they do know that. They do know that. Can I just mention too, Camp, it's not just the music family that you have impacted. What GMP has done in relationships with pastors and musicians, in sharing vision for all kinds of music to reach all kinds of people. When you first arrived, things were pretty traditional in the churches. They had never heard anything like Jericho or a jazz piece, a Christian jazz piece, and it was pushing limits. But again, the pastors realized why you were doing it. They realized how many people were coming to know Christ as a result of it. Gained their trust, and you shared the vision. And so I think it really allowed musicians and pastors and other leaders to work confidently together, so that there were not worship wars as we've seen in some other countries. So God used you really to build bridges for worship for everybody involved.
You know, we're so thankful to have just been a part of any of it and all of it. And I claim Cuba as my second home, and because of the relationships that we have there. I made a trip down in July 2 years ago for the celebration of the 15th year of the Schools of Music in the East, and with our host there, who we dearly love, and there was an 80-piece orchestra sitting on the floor in salute and tribute to the schools of music that have been developed there for teaching instrumentalists in the church. And to train them not only as musicians, but to train them in their faith and their discipleship in Christ. And I asked our friend, our host down there, I said, I wish that I'd asked to take a picture of everyone who had an instrument in this orchestra of 80 people, that GMP had provided instruments for. And he looked at me and he said, well, all of them. And I want all of our GMP friends that are watching this, whenever you're watching it, to know of what the impact this has been. There have been lives changed there because of your giving and your support. In one of my rooms in the house here where I am right now, I have at least a dozen instruments that are ready to go. And we're just waiting on the opportunity for this virus to pass so that we can have the opportunity to launch again and be able to be back in Cuba again very, very soon. I'm going to go ahead and close us down now, and just to say, yeah, I remember now. Thank you for that reminder. For all of our GMP friends who are watching and that see this video, I want to let you know that we have just recorded recently, within the last month, a first ever Celebration Orchestra CD. Now, the Metro Big Band has already done 3 CDs over the years, but we've never had a Celebration Orchestra CD. And we see those as connectors, things for us to bring with us to be able to connect with people on the field wherever we go. And so that Celebration Orchestra CD is going to be ready soon. It's being manufactured now. However, if you go to our website, go to globalmissionsproject.com and click on the little link that says recordings and CDs. We're doing a special promotion on that Celebration Orchestra CD right now. We're doing it at $2 off. And if you want one, you can pre-order it because our goal is to have them ready for me to send out by October the 15th. So about 1 month from now, we'll have them ready to go. They're fully recorded, mastered, artwork's done, and we're ready to do it. And Roy and Dirce, I'm going to send you one just for you so that you'll have one.
Muchas gracias. Muchas gracias.
Okay. And so God bless you, Roy and Dirce. I hope that we'll have a chance to be together again. I've already threatened to go down and visit them and to take them out to dinner. And to all of my GMP people that are with us today or may watch this soon, God bless you today at all. Any parting words, Roy and Dirce?
No, we're just so thankful for the fellowship that we have in Christ together and the opportunity to impact the world together. You're a great part of the ministry that we've been involved in. So thanks.
Thank you so much. God bless you all. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.